Hey, what's up, guys? We are live once again with episode 74. 74? Let me check. Yep, 74 of the Super Deformed Gamescast. It's fucking Wednesday night, and I am tired, and we'll probably have a smaller crowd than we normally do because if our audience is anything like my fellow podcast mates, they're all like, wait, Wednesday? What? I've only tweeted it out like a billion times, so hopefully people got the message.
We're keeping you on your toes.
I know, right? No, dude, this podcast is a dumpster fire. It always has been, and it always will be, so... That's what people come to expect. But as everybody can see, we've got a smaller show tonight, smaller podcast, simply because tonight's one of those nights where just fucking nobody can make it. But Torpdeo Vegas is going to be along in about 5 or 10 minutes. Anthony's like, Torpdeo Vegas, what the fuck have I signed up for?
I'm John, I'm in a complete zen state of podcast and internet culture. Whatever the hell happens, you tell me a dude named Torpdeo is showing up, I am ready for that in my life.
At some point, my pants might be coming off, man. I mean, I can't make any promises, but...
I'm not wearing any right now.
Outstanding. Let's all take our pants off and stand up. Ready? Boys, on count of 3. No. Hold on. We need more people in the chat before we do that. But anyway, we're glad we've already got some people watching. We're glad everybody's here. Anthony, dude, why don't you introduce yourself, man? Because this is your first time on the podcast.
This is my second time on the podcast.
Well, I'm not counting the.
We're not counting our one-off. We're not counting our one-off.
Our spoiler cast. Our spoiler cast.
Our spoiler cast. This is my first appearance on the proper Super Deformed podcast. Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony John Aganello. I am a. I don't even have official title. No, I am.
How do you describe yourself right now?
Well, I've gone back to my original title, which is just writer. Working in the video game world, you can catch my work at the AV Club and other places that I can't talk about yet. I was most recently, most recently of Gamesradar. My last week with Gamesradar was this past week, and before that I was at Engadget and Joystick, and have written for IGN and 1UP when that was still a going concern. I had things in GamePro, John.
Man.
GamePro, man. I remember GamePro.
You were that's OG. You were throwing out pro tips, motherfucker.
So this was the most disappointing thing in my entire career. When I started freelancing, I was invited to a guy got in touch with me and said, "Do you want to review Kingdom Hearts Recoded for GamePro?" And I was like, fuck yes!
Yes!
Of course I want to review Kingdom Hearts for GamePro. Because in my head, I was like, this is it. I get to assign a series of yelling faces to a video game as a score.
I remember those, dude. It had dude, they had like a fucking explosion behind every one of them, right?
Yes, yelling face.
I remember those things.
And I was like, this is it. I'm going to get to like put yelling faces on a Kingdom Hearts game. And then they were like, our rating system is just 1 through 5. And I was like, but what about the yelling faces?
I love the GamePro way of like we're gonna rate our games based on a screaming face with a fiery explosion behind him.
It was very nice.
It was so rad and full of tude. Like those ratings were the Bubsy 3D of games ratings. It's just, man, the tude. Speaking of 90s, by the way, real quick, since we didn't talk about it last week, and both you guys, I would be remiss. We're talking about GamePro. We're talking about the 90s. I would be remiss not to mention the fact that fucking Night Trap is getting a
of all things.
It's all Night Trap. So Anthony, like you were, I think you're actually the exact same age as I am. We grew up with these games, right? What are your thoughts on Night Trap? John, for the PS4 with some
have you played Night Trap? Have you ever done this?
Unfortunately, yes,
I
have.
Playthroughs of it.
Brandon, okay, you need to understand what it's like to play the game yourself, because if you're watching a YouTube version of Night Trap, you're not getting the full experience of enduring. I'm talking like it seems like people doing Saved by the Bell cosplay.
I grew up with bad FMV games. I mean, I had a CDI when I was a kid.
Yeah, You know this
I'm
is terrible.
no stranger to bad FMV.
But you also know, if you had the CDI, you understand what it's like to go through the experience of making one wrong choice and then waiting for the loading.
Yeah.
Waiting for the loading.
Yeah.
Waiting for the loading. So I
think it was probably even worse on a Sega Saturn. Or Sega.
Oh, the Sega CD.
Sega CD. Yeah. I can't keep all this stupid out on stream.
But the thing is Night Trap was actually okay compared to some other games on the Sega CD. Like what was
Sewer Shark?
Sewer Shark. Is that all right with you, dog?
Sewer Shark had a CDI
dog
for it.
meat.
Yeah, it was bad.
Dog meat, and then you had that, and with Sewer Shark was the game when you're going through the sewers, and you had that annoying voice telling you which way to go in, like 6, 9, or 12 o'clock.
Who remembers Mad Dog McCree?
Mad Dog, yeah, I remember.
Also,
Mad Dog.
that was an arcade game as well.
It's high noon. The original McCree, dude.
Yeah, the original McCree.
The OG McCree.
OG
right there,
McCree.
Which
fucking,
is now, if you go out and you decide that you want to get into the wild world of Wii game collecting, I know I'm a little early in our Wii talk tonight. The Wii version of Mad Dog McCree is now an insane collector's item.
There's a Wii version of Mad Dog McCree? No shit.
Oh, man, why?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know this, dude.
They also made there's a Mad Dog McCree, too.
And this compiles both of them. It's a lovely
amazing
Wii remote anthology of Mad Dog McCree.
I have only ever played the original.
Yeah, hey,
you know what you're gonna do with Tim.
For our friends in chat, by the way, if you guys have any questions throughout the podcast, go ahead and shoot them out. Ender the Dragon Punch says, "What about Sega CD Sega CD 32X games? Like all 5 of them? There were more than that, right?
Lunar 1 and 2, the only ones that matter.
There's Corpse Killer. There's Night Trap. Did you notice that Limited Run Games also has, if you're getting Night Trap for PS4 physically, it comes with 2 covers. You get the Sega CD
I
trim
saw that,
and the CD 32X trim.
That
is classy.
Anthony, it's funny when I saw this on Twitter. I sent Susan a DM and I said, "I'm gonna buy this, aren't I? I'm gonna buy this, aren't I?" And she says, "Yes, you are."
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Of course you are.
I you know what? I might not even play it. I have
a whole closet full of shitty FMV games.
Oh, they're so good though, man. Like what was the one? Space Pirates.
I want to go dig some.
Space Pirates?
Give me 1 second.
Oh, are you gonna go get them? All right. Well, Brandon. Yeah. Go. Well, Brandon's going to do that. Or this is our podcast now, dude. We're ruling the roost.
Ride this train.
I'm warning you, dude. This podcast is a dumpster fire. Pants will come off. Shirts will come off. I'll probably start. Well, never mind. We won't get into that. But so while we're waiting on Brandon to come back, I wanted to go ahead and jump into our first topic, which is the title of the podcast. Darksiders 3 was announced. Not announced. Initially leaked.
Yeah.
Was it like Amazon Germany or something like that?
Do we know? I mean, so it was a leak, but isn't the whole thing that it was IGN? It was revealing this. And it was just the product listing went up at the same time that their story was supposed to go up. I'm unaware of what leaked really here, but
so the way I understand it is the release date was leaked by Amazon initially, right?
Oh, okay. All right.
And I the way it went down, and again, I can't confirm this, but I got the distinct because after that THQ like the very next day was like, here's a reveal trailer.
Sure.
It seemed very off the cuff and very sudden. And I get the sense that this is something we were supposed to see closer to E3, but they were like, fuck it, our hand's been tipped.
Sure.
We might as well just throw a reveal trailer out.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I played the first 2 Darksiders games. I did not finish them.
Oh, all right.
They were... It's weird, right? Like, we've got a lot... Like, Maddie, who's on the podcast, he won't be in here tonight, but he is a massive Darksiders guy. Like, this was the culmination of every dream he's ever had, right? When Darksiders 3 is announced. He's like, holy shit, like he was tripping out. And for somebody like me, it never really clicked for me like it did for some other people. Like, for example, like I couldn't help but think while I was playing Darksiders 1 and Darksiders 2 that like 1, Zelda did everything these games are doing better.
Sure.
And 2, like some of the characters, like I'm not a huge World of Warcraft guy, and some of the designs seemed ripped straight out of World of Warcraft, and it was just like visually, it's a nitpick, but visually, it was just very unappealing to me.
It is the entirety of Darksiders is recycled parts. It literally is. You ever go to a dollar store and you see a pile of action figures that are clearly parts, like whatever factory put those together was like, we have the legs of Captain America, we have a Power Rangers torso, and Lion-O's sword, and that we're going to put that in Spider-Man's head, and we're going to call it U.S. Spider Hero on the box.
Yes, that's a yes.
Darksiders. That's what Darksiders is. It is all recycled little bits from elsewhere. It's Zelda's structure. It's dumb 90s comic book character designs.
I found it. Yo, dude.
Are you
an entire case of shitty FMV games?
Wow. What are you doing? Hold on, real quick. We're going to put the Darksiders. I want to see what you got.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
There's the Nintendo Classic Hotel.
Oh my God. Look at the CD. Tell me you got one Gamelon in there.
This would be Link: The Faces of Evil.
Oh
shit! You really do have those
trilogy.
Dude, that's actually probably worth some cash, dude.
There was a CDI
That's
version.
worth a couple $100.
Why are you not? You need to sell these for money, dude.
Yo,
Faces
this
of
one
Evil
was
is
good though.
money.
This one was good. Inca. I don't know. It's like a point-and-click adventure.
I'm just waiting for one Gamelon to pop up.
I sold that one because it was
Oh, it's the only one you don't have. Oh, dude, that's.
Nope. I did have it, but I sold it.
If anybody in chat has not
what else
seen
did
the FMV videos, or animation videos for one of Gamelon, do yourself a favor.
Dragon's Lair 2.
Dragon's Lair, dude.
I don't have
Shit,
Dragon's Lair 1. I have Dragon's Lair 2, but not 1. I don't.
So here's my question for you, Brandon: is what did you do as a child that caused your parents to hate you so bad?
Yeah, exactly.
They got you a CDI
I did grow up with an NES, but then for some reason they went with a CDI.
They get you a CDI, which is like the equivalent. That's like the gaming equivalent of getting socks and underwear in your fucking stocking. Like,
man, there's a real treasure trove of garbage in here.
Oh, that's wow.
Oh, there was there was a CDI version of Tetris, of course, because there's Tetris on literally
every shit. Dude, you probably got hundreds of dollars for games there.
This one had good music, so I don't know.
Hundreds
it had like really nice calming background.
Do you still have the CDI Philips itself?
No, it broke. I'm pretty sure we threw that.
That's a shame, man.
I just have the game. I still have the games.
I love that. I love
this one was actually good. The Apprentice. This is like a platformer.
That is like the worst cover art I've ever seen in my life.
It's super bad.
Dude, I haven't even heard of most of these.
Yeah.
No, this game has like for some reason it's rated K to A, but for some reason it had like half-naked anime ladies all throughout it.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Which was really super strange. I don't know. It was a weird game.
So it's basically like a whimsical Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, this one. This one was good. This is Daimo's Quest.
Oh, I've actually heard of that shit. Believe it or not, I've heard of that.
There was a DOS. Yeah, it had a DOS version, but it's like a top-down puzzle game.
It literally
really
all
good.
of these CDI games look like some human being was kidnapped by aliens, Galaxy Quest style.
Yes.
And they were like, "Tell us what a Sega Genesis is."
Well, like
exactly.
I maintain that
there's a CDI version of Battleship.
The artwork for or the animation for One of Gamelon, I think some developer kidnapped an 8-year-old blind kid, tied him to a chair, like put a helmet on and filled the helmet with bees, and demanded that he draw cartoons, right? And One of Gamelon was
here we go.
John, I've actually
Kingdom: The Far Reaches. I think that had a DOS version too.
I just recently found out who actually did all the animation in those CDI Zelda games.
Oh God, who was it?
I heard
it was an actual like Russian animation studio.
Of course it was.
And there is, you could go play this. There is a game, a point-and-click adventure called Warcraft Adventures that was basically done.
I heard about this.
Same animation studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't get released, because the animation.
It was like a hack and slash game, right?
So no, it's a point-and-click adventure, and you play as the orcs,
like LucasArts style. Yeah.
LucasArts style, and the animation, it's not even close to as bad as the Zelda stuff. It's not great.
Because they had some Blizzard budget put into it.
Yeah, they had Blizzard budget. It's so I feel like the animation studio isn't totally at fault for Zelda. It's probably the fact that
they had
Philips
$15 to make.
Yeah, here's $15 and like a half-punch Subway card for one free sandwich, and that's all your payment for the game.
Yo, check this one out though. This is Titanic, the interactive exploration, narrated by Patrick Stewart.
Why? Like, why would it be?
You can
it
walk,
wasn't even
yeah,
the
you can walk
fucking
around the
movie.
Titanic.
Like,
I don't know, because people didn't know what else to do with FMV back in the 90s. They're like, oh, you can walk around the Titanic and Patrick Stewart will talk.
and you know what?
through
It was probably given when it released, it was probably the best-selling game.
I mean, yeah, like
on
when
CD,
I was 10 years old, it was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yo, I just got dust all over myself because that's how long it's been since.
Because you haven't touched that shit in 10
I haven't
years.
touched that shit in 10 years.
Put that shit away and
I gotta wash myself off.
Wash yourself off and come back. And I told you, dude, this podcast just goes out the rails quick.
I love this.
And
this is a great format, John.
It's terrible. It's awful. It's awful. But you know what? It's never gonna get better. So everybody watching in chat, don't expect anything more than this for the entirety of this podcast's existence. It's not gonna get better. This is why we don't have a Patreon, because we can't promise you great things.
Dude, that should be the tagline. That should be, when you make cards for the show, be like, there is no Patreon because we promise you nothing.
We don't promise you shit. In fact, we actually are probably making people's lives a lot worse. This podcast is so bad, but that's fine. I take pride in our shittiness, and so does everybody in chat. They love us. Anyway, back on Darksiders 3. What was interesting? So here's the thing.
Yeah.
When this thing was announced, and Brandon and I had discussed this before we went live, before you hopped on, I remembered an article written, and it was a quote from THQ, and they said Darksiders 2 must hit 4 million copies sold for Darksiders 3 to exist. That was a quote.
What year was that? Was it when it came out? Was it like 2012? And
this was in 2012, July 26, 2012.
That checks out.
I am confident that Darksiders 2 did not sell anywhere near 4 million copies.
I don't know if that's true.
Really?
So at this point, Darksiders 2, you have to remember how many different machines Darksiders 2 has been released on at this point. Your PlayStation 3, PC, Mac, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. That was a fucking Wii U launch game. And I think every single Humble Bundle that has existed since 2012 has had Darksiders 2 in it. So I'm not saying that like every single one of those 4 million copies has been, $60. I think many of them were a penny. I think Darksiders 2, there's a reason that in the THQ being shut down fire sale in 2013 that people swept in to buy that, that title.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I just I'm looking at Darksiders 3, and what's interesting is that, I just got done playing a vast open world post-apocalyptic game set in the United States starring a redheaded female. And now
holy shit. Oh yeah.
And now it's like, now here's our post-apocalyptic
right while the iron is hot
with skyscrapers that are overridden by shrubbery with a redheaded female, and I'm like, okay. So granted, Darksiders 3 has probably been in development longer, or so long that you would say, okay, it's a coincidence, right?
And this is the original creative team. It's not the full studio, but these are the same. They've had their plan in place since 2008 at this point. So,
but do you guys feel that the inevitable comparisons to Horizon are going to hurt this game?
No,
not
because
hurt it, but they'll be made.
They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be made in any way, shape, or form, because Horizon is a lavish, ridiculously expensive, premium filet mignon, top of the line, best of the best, made by hundreds of people and written with very lofty goals in mind.
Your check is in the mail.
My check is in the mail. Thanks, Gorilla.
Don't forget to
give me them Kroners, Gorilla Games. But I say all this. I don't really care for Horizon. I think it's very well made. I find playing it to be about as thrilling as counting through a box of saltines. But I respect it. I respect that game. Its ideals are very lofty. It
That's
aims
exactly
to tell
how
a
I
very
feel
rich
about The
story.
Witcher 3. That's exactly.
But I think The Witcher 3 doesn't. I think The Witcher 3 does it a whole lot better. Doesn't play as well, but I think it does.
I was going to say, except for that combat. Yeah.
So all of that said, Darksiders is big and dumb and is a paean to big dumbness of big dumb things all the time.
Pretty much.
That is a very, very apt description. Yes.
So
I completely agree.
Like the post-apocalyptic redhead running around tearing things up. These games aren't even going to play.
Yeah, I mean,
remotely, so-
Darksiders
Yeah,
is not
that's-
an RPG. Like,
Well, and I would argue that, not argue, I would assume, and assuming is dangerous, but I would assume that Darksiders 3 is probably not going to have as deep a storyline as Horizon.
No.
But it doesn't have to, right? Like
Yeah.
that's really not the point. Hey, real quick, Gabe is here. Gabe, what's up, dude?
Hey guys, how are you guys?
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Gabe, it has been so long since you've been in here, man. Like,
Yeah, man.
I can hear you loud and clear. Your internet seems fine.
No,
Like-
I'm using a new microphone, so
You sound
that's
better than you. Brandon, back me up. You sound better than you ever have, Gabe.
agreed.
really
All the way down in
Oh,
Brazil.
that's-
Yeah,
True
that's
story.
great.
No
So
lies.
Gabe,
yeah,
Gabe,
this new
Gabe,
headphone paid off.
This is Anthony, man.
Hey Anthony,
Gabriel,
Nice to meet you.
how are you, man? Nice to meet you.
I'm good.
I
Nice
love-
to meet you too.
This picture of
Oh yes, Apollo.
Right?
is one of the best things.
No,
I've
Athena.
ever seen.
That's Athena.
Oh, that's
That's the-
Athena. That's Athena. Okay, I forget
Yeah,
you
my
have-
female dog.
How many dogs do
I
you
have-
have named after Greek
I
gods?
have two. I have two dogs.
Okay, cool. All right.
Paulo, which is the male dog, and Athena, which is the one in the picture.
I just want to point out to people in chat, because we've got some people who watch us now, listen to us now, who weren't with us back at the beginning. Gabe's English has gotten so much better, it's fucking scary. Like, dude,
Yeah, I
it's
have no
fucking
idea.
scary. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous how much better you're doing. I'm so proud of you, man. It's amazing.
Practice
Wow.
makes it perfect. That's what they say. So
Talking
I
with a bunch of
practice-
assholes on a podcast for 2 years makes it perfect.
Who would have thought, right?
So we're talking about Darksiders 3. One thing I will say
Yeah,
that the
that's
Darksiders games have done really well is the voice acting. Like yeah, the script is goofy, but goddamn, if those voice actors don't put in some, like Liam O'Brien, I think was the guy who voiced War, and which is weird, Anthony, because every time I heard him talk, I just thought of Caius Ballad, Final Fantasy 13 too. Like, that's all I saw. And then Michael Wincott voiced
Michael
Death.
Hankin.
Michael Wincott is the fuck, like when a supervillain is like, I just don't sound evil enough, he hires Michael Wincott as a voice coach. Because Michael Wincott is the only man who could have voiced Death like that. Like I try, like if you try talking like Michael Wincott, you'll get a sore throat.
Yeah,
I don't understand
Almost
how that man's
instantly.
voice. I don't understand how it sounds. Like I can't. Like I can't.
You can't.
I can't do it. But I wonder. So you got to figure they will probably go after some serious voice talent to voice Fury. So it's Fury, right? It's not. It's not going to be Pestilence, because nobody. I guess nobody wants to play.
Yeah. So when I saw this
Famine.
announcement that it was, it's Darksiders 3 and it's going to be a continuation and Fury is the star, I was like, well, who the hell is Fury? She is. Who is she subbing in for?
Pestilence. So she's, because you got no. Well, hold on a minute. So you got the original Horsemen were War.
Right.
Yeah, I'm talking biblically.
Sure. Yeah.
Famine and Pestilence.
Yeah.
Right. So we've had War and Death. And in this one we have Strife and Fury.
So no famine.
No famine.
We don't get famine.
Because I guess like our protagonist can't starve.
Yeah, you can't. There's no
How would they-
awesome combo move.
Like, yeah, like, how do you, like,
What would you do with famine?
if you're playing as Famine, your special attack is just getting your foes really hungry.
feeling hungry?
You are
bet.
so. One of your special attacks is just like holding
Food
a finger
deprivation.
on a stick in front of somebody to say, "Do you want that? Do you want that? You want?" And you can't have
can't
it.
have it.
You can't have it.
You've unlocked bag of chips. Oh.
Kind of like, I could see some, but you know what? That would make for some great stealth gameplay, right? Like if you're playing as Famine and you're hiding in the bushes, you throw a chicken on a string and you start looping it in and get the enemy to come close to the bush, and then you come out and swag them. Like that would be fantastic.
I now they have a chance to fix this. You don't have to go with Strife. Gunfire
We have
games.
a loyal fan base. People in chat, get it. Start tweeting to THQ. Tell them you want Famine, you want food-based special attacks, Yeah, and you know what? You could even work in some Final Fantasy 15 references, like a little that's it. I've come up with a new recipe action going on. Like
it's just Ignis.
It's what if Ignis was Famine? Like, what if you got the voice actor for Ignis to play Famine?
I'd play that game.
That would be fucking phenomenal.
I'd buy 2 copies of that.
And you can't and you also, and I guess that's the same reason they replaced Pestilence with Fury, right? Because it's like you don't want to play, like, nobody wants to play as a character whose job is to get people sick.
See, I think that would be really cool gameplay.
Like, I think it would too.
You have Death and War were both melee-centric characters. And I'm a sucker for a game where you use a whip. I always want to use a whip. I'm an Ivy guy in Soul Calibur. But, like, I think it would be neat if you had a character whose main ability was, if they were a mage, and it's throwing bugs at people.
Yeah, like vials of acid and rot and...
Yeah.
Kind of like... Cool. Kind of like Plague Knight.
Yeah,
right?
Plague Knight. Or,
just like Plague Knight.
Yeah. You think about hell, Brandon, you were just talking about The Witcher. It's no different than having all of the signs and oils and stuff that you need to use if you're playing The Witcher on hard. That would be freaking cool.
Whenever I'm playing anything on hard, I always need my oils. I need my oils whenever I'm playing anything on hard. This podcast sucks. So like, I don't know. Like I said, Maddie is really excited about Darksiders 3. Gabe, you're a Darksiders guy, right?
I played both games. Loved the first one. I can't remember anything about the second. I think I may have not liked it very much because
the first
I really can't remember.
The second one's trying to be too much like God of War.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing about the second one. Like, not everything needs to be a massive open world experience, right? And I feel like Darksiders 1, I feel like that formula worked, right?
Yes.
But I feel like the loot system in like every fucking game has to have a loot system now, and it all has to be color coded, right? You've got your white for common, your green for uncommon, your blue, your purple, and your orange. And for Darksiders 2, I just don't feel like the loot system was all that compelling.
It was so boring.
It really was
so boring.
I mean, like, especially coming off of games like Borderlands 2 or Diablo 3. I mean, Darksiders 2 is just like it was not doing anything that, like you said earlier, Anthony, like, it was just a pastiche of other games, and this is just one more thing that it took and added onto the pile. And I feel like Darksiders 2, I feel like Darksiders 1, I agree with Gabe. I feel like Darksiders 1 is a superior experience.
Yes.
Even though and Darksiders 2 took literally everything it could and threw it at the wall to see what would work.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's up there with the most disappointing sequels of the past decade. I think that it's tied with Arkham City in terms of the most disappointing sequel to a great first game.
And the concept was so awesome. Like, I remember, because I never finished Darksiders, and I was like, okay, this is fine, but I just don't feel that compelled to finish it. And then Darksiders 2 gets announced, and I'm like, you're playing as Death? That's fucking rad. I was like,
it's cool. Like,
I was like, cool. I want to play as fucking Death. Like, how often are you going to play as Death?
I felt exactly the same way. Like, I didn't care about Darksiders 1, and I was like, yeah, Death seems like a cool character. So I bought Darksiders 2.
But then I was like, okay, so we got your Prince of Persia. I'm wall running. I'm wall climbing. You got your Diablo 3. I'm getting my colored loot. I got my loot going on. I got my Zelda going on. I got my dungeons with my puzzles. I got my open world going on.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my God of War going. Nobody can tell me that Darksiders 2 devs did not play God of War and say, we need to do this.
Yeah. Oh, they went from Zelda to God of War. Yeah.
God of War. See, but when was the last time you guys played Darksiders 1? Has it been since 2010?
No, I actually
I played
the remastered version just a few months ago, actually.
So that gameplay is closer to God of War than it is Zelda in terms of like the melee stuff.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, the combat. But it was like the level design, because you were going from dungeon to dungeon, getting.
Hey, God of War 1 and 2. I was just playing God of War 2.
True,
the
you
other
are
day.
doing that. Yeah, you get Pegasus
They-
shoes and all sorts.
God of War 2 is pretty Zelda-y as well. You know, it's a little bit more linear.
I mean, like, yeah, Zelda is one of the most influential games of all time. So yeah, pretty much every game.
Exactly.
Every
Yeah,
game.
Zelda, sure.
So
Well, and-
you said, John, just a second ago, you were like, not everything needs to be an open world. The fact that they've described Darksiders 3 as being open world is the most concerning thing about this game to me.
yes, I agree.
The most concerning thing,
I
because
didn't know that.
we don't need another open world game. Like, if they go back to the Zelda mold, what else out there is doing a whole world with dungeons? Because not even fucking Zelda is doing that anymore.
And that's why I am taking a break from open world games. I'm enjoying smaller experience. I'm playing Outlast 2. Tonight I'm going to finish Outlast 2 and I'm going to fire up Little Nightmares. Finally, I'm so excited to play that.
That game looks badass.
That game looks dope, and I've got the special edition. I'm going to play that. When I get back in town this weekend, I'm going to play Edith Finch because I'm very excited to play that. Nothing against open world games. I love Horizon. I love Breath of the Wild, even though Horizon's a better game. Controversy. But oh man, you should have. By the way, I tweeted that out the other day. I tweeted out the fact that I think Horizon is a better video game.
Oh,
than Breath of the Wild.
I supported your statement. I think it's
Dude, yeah, I saw it. People coming out left and right like, you're fucking out of your mind. I'm like, dude, it's just my opinion. Chill out. I didn't even say Breath of the
unless
Wild.
you've played both games, like yeah,
It's great. Breath of the Wild is a fantastic game.
Don't at me unless you've played both games.
Yeah, exactly.
Breath of the Wild is the most thrilling job Nintendo has ever made.
You know, right? Like, so here's the thing about that, right? Like, and you could talk about Darksiders with this as well, right? Like, everybody says that, when you say a game is derivative, people say, well, every video game is technically, derivative because it's building on what's come before. And that's true to a certain extent, but some games do it better than others.
Yeah.
There was nothing that I felt, anyway, that Darksiders 2 did better than any of the games it was cribbing from.
No, and it did a lot of things worse. I mean, the loot system
was terrible. It was awful. Honestly, it was the least compelling thing about the game to me. I was like, this just really turns me off.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is a fantastic video game, but much like Darksiders 2, the things it tries that we've seen before, like item durability,
sure,
fast travel, it doesn't do these things as well as other games. And I just want to point out, I fucking hate item durability. I fucking hate it.
It's awful.
Every smith in Hyrule needs to be fired immediately because people say, oh well, and people say, oh well, you obviously never made it out of the Great Plains, motherfucker. I put 70-something odd hours into Breath of the Wild. And I'll tell you what, my giant Flamberg, my giant pole arms that I found 50 hours in outside of Death Mountain, breaking after 30 minutes, baby. Like, it has nothing to do with where you're at. I don't feel like Zelda did. It tried a lot of new things for Zelda, right? But I don't feel like it did any of these things better than what has come before. It was still quintessentially a great game. I just don't know if it was a great Zelda game. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. And I feel it's really interesting that you're saying this. I was having a conversation just earlier today about the fact that Darksiders 2 didn't appeal to me for a lot of the same reason that Breath of the Wild didn't. And I've sank like 80 hours into Breath of the Wild, and I started playing it again, John. I went back in there after the great saved at a loss.
Oh man, you did that again.
I went back in there and I regret the decision. Both Breath of the Wild and Darksiders 2 lack specificity.
Yes.
They trade giving you very specific experiences and very specific tools in favor of just sort of giving you a playground and saying, make your own fun. And my response to that is I have the real world where I can go outside and make my own fun. I come to you, game, for a new experience. Show me an impossible thing.
I mean, I feel like that's why I've kind of always enjoyed the Grand Theft Auto series, because you get a little bit of, you get both, because you get the playground, and then if you want to just like go to the fucking R circle on your mini map and just do story missions, like it's just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, great specificity in Grand Theft Auto, man.
Bouncing off something Anthony said, it really does give you the tools to make your own fun.
Fucking.
What
goddamn
game
it.
was that again? That
I don't even remember. I don't remember.
that, but
It was Assassin's Creed.
it was Assassin's Creed, right? Yeah, it's an inside joke on the
Assassin's Creed,
podcast, Anthony, where
the
it was like
Victorian Revolution one.
it was an it was and it was an
Which
IGN
one was
article.
The one from like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was an IGN article, and it's been a running joke on this podcast where they said Assassin's Creed Liberation
all the
whatever it was,
tools.
really gives you the tools you need to create your own fun. And I'm like,
Such a fucking meaningless phrase,
what does that even mean? Like that's every video game.
basically.
Like,
Every video
What are you
game.
talking about? Like that was almost as bad as the island. Did they ever give that island away?
It's whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever
I
happens, it's over.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Talking about
that was,
tools to
Guess
make your
we'll
own
never
fun,
know.
I need to talk about some PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
okay. All right. So
Finally, finally.
I'm thinking about buying it.
Have I played something that's not?
I know fucking nothing about Battlegrounds, by the way.
Yeah, well, I'm about to enlighten you.
Yeah, why don't you teach us there,
Please.
Chief?
Has anyone seen the movie Battle Royale?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
actually yes.
I
Yeah.
like the book.
There
The
you go. Or the
novel
manga,
is
yeah.
like my fave.
Oh yeah, there you go. Well, they took that and made it as much of a video game as possible.
So this is what we're streaming on Sunday, right, Brandon?
Yeah, dude. Me and you were gonna go in duo.
What is this? What I haven't even heard of this.
Yeah, I need to know more about this.
So it's
I only
it's
heard about this 2 weeks ago.
it has been the best-selling game on Steam for the last 2 months. It's an early access survival game, very much in the mold of DayZ, H1Z1. And except this one, there's no zombies. It's purely PvP. And the basic concept is you fly in on an island on a plane with 100 players. There's 100 players on the airplane, and you can get out. You can pull up your map and get off the airplane at any time. It just flies a straight course over the island. So you just So you pick you're like the plane's going across the island. You're like, oh, I want to jump down to the group of houses right down there.
While you're talking right now, I'm going to pull this up. Now I have to see this.
Yeah. So there's actually strategy right from the jump because you're trying to decide, do I want to go off the beaten path and maybe go to a house that might not have as good loot,
Sure.
but other people probably won't go to that house. Because like you can just drop into the military base and it's going to be a fucking free for all as soon as you hit the ground, right?
Right.
Probably like 15, 20 people are going to parachute in there. So you parachute in, and then basically, as soon as you hit the ground, you run into the closest house, and you're trying to pick up guns, whatever. Unlike DayZ was very sparse about equipment. Like in DayZ, you would have to run around for like an hour, and maybe you just find like one shitty little pistol or whatever. But in this game, you're pretty much going to find loot as soon as you go into your first house.
So not to interrupt you, Brandon, but I pulled this game to the video.
Go ahead.
So when you said Battle Royale, I was expecting to see like a bunch of anime waifus running around.
No, dude, this looks like a military shooter. Like,
It looks.
alright,
It looks
alright,
like DayZ. It has that.
Yeah, it looks like
sort of-
it looks like Arma. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it runs on Unreal Engine 4, so it just looks pretty standard.
Brandon, you convinced me. I'm buying this game right now.
It's badass. I have only good things to
Are you
say.
buying it right now, Gabe?
Yeah, especially
Gabe.
because it's like $16 for me. So
Yeah,
Gabe, you should stream it with us on Sunday, man.
yeah, dude.
yeah,
I
that's
think
exactly
you
what I'm
can-
going to do.
I think you can do trios. I know you can do duos, but anyway. So yeah, so the
Brandon,
thing about
I'll be
DayZ
cool.
and other
Yeah.
survival games that didn't appeal to me is that sometimes you would just be running around for hours doing fucking nothing. And so in this game, they distilled it down to like this. It could last 30 seconds. It could last maybe up to about 25, 30 minutes. If you win the round, it's probably going to take you about half an hour.
Brandon, does
But-
it randomize everything? Is it
So
like
what the island is always the same. The loot that spawns in each building will be randomized.
okay?
The trajectory of the plane going in over the island is random.
That's
So you're not
great.
always going to be dropping into the same spots.
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
island. And then like in Battle Royale, they have the neck collars that'll explode if
What
you're
the
in a
hell?
certain sector
Sure.
at a certain time. So what this game does to encourage players to congregate is that it'll have circles that'll close in on the map after a certain amount of time. So there's always like a circle that's closing on the map, and you always need to be moving towards the circle. If you're outside the circle, you take damage. It's pretty simple. And so
Hey,
obviously, as the circle gets smaller and there's less play, like combat becomes more apparent.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It certainly looks more appealing than DayZ. I've played DayZ before.
Yeah.
I was like, I got fucking bored playing DayZ. Like,
yeah,
it was
so hard to find like good equipment in DayZ, and then when you did, you would just like fall and break your leg, and it was over anyway. But,
or some dude would hold you up and things.
Yeah,
like
I was just gonna say the
game is
culture
way
of DayZ is really unappealing. This just sounds fun.
This is just balls to the wall. Like you hit the. So let me tell you a story. I just played the game the first time yesterday, and like right off the bat, within your first games, you'll have like stories to tell about like what happened in your games. The first game I played solo queue, I parachute into what I think is like a group of buildings that would be like nobody else would fuck with, but no, a guy parachuted in right with me. We land 5 feet apart at the same time, and so he dashes into this house, and I dash in right behind him. I don't know if he even saw me like run behind him, because he runs into the house and starts trying to pick up a gun. So I just run up and start punching him in the back of the head. And then he just like turns up, he runs out of the house. He doesn't even pick up the weapon. He just runs out of the house. And I'm chasing behind him. He starts running into a field. And so we're sprinting at the same speed, because there's nothing, you can't like tackle someone. So I'm just sprinting behind him, like maybe 3 or 4 feet behind him, and he's just sprinting through the woods, and I'm just chasing behind him. I figure I punched him down to like maybe 1 or 2 more hits till he's dead. So I chased this guy for 2 minutes, and he finally finds a dune buggy on the side of the road, and as he tries to get in it, I just run up behind him and beat him in the back of the head and kill him. And like we're talking like that.
That's the most battle royale thing I've ever heard.
That shit happened as soon as we hit the ground. Like, so the cool thing about this game is you can have games like that where you parachute in and you're just you're punching this dude for your life.
See, that actually sounds really appealing to me. I love playing a game with my friends and having funny stories, right? Like
or you drop into a place where nobody else is, and you might not see another player for a full 10 minutes.
Well, like I think my favorite story, this is one Anthony's not heard. Like if we're talking about like amazing stories when you're playing games with your buddies, like we had like 6 of us, Anthony, and we're all playing Overwatch. We were streaming it, and we were streaming it for like 2 hours, right? And then for our last match, we decided to be all 6 Winstons, right? So we had a team full of Harambe's.
That was good times.
And then for just randomly,
out of nowhere,
a guy out of nowhere, a guy hopped in chat named Lord Harambe.
Was it Lord Harambe? It was
Lord Harambe, and he said, he kept saying, make them remember Harambe, and you can't make this shit up. And so we're trying to concentrate because we're laughing so hard that we've got 6 Winstons running around and a guy named Lord Harambe in chat screaming, typing out all caps, typing out in all caps. Like Harambe is pleased with you. Make them, we must not forget Harambe. And I'm like, what is going on? And we won. He won, and like we actually won. And he started just spamming over and over. He was like, you made Harambe proud. Harambe's been avenged. We will never forget Harambe. And I'm like, what the fuck was this?
I like the serendipity of that. The fact that you were all rolling around as Wilson and he just showed up.
And just doing that emote over and over. Like,
he's never graced us with his presence in any podcast.
He's never been back. I actually think it was Harambe himself. I think it was his spirit. He
was ready,
reaching out
to you in this moment.
Harambe felt in this moment. He felt connected to us in a way that transcends the man and beast. I feel like I like to think that that's what happened. I told my wife that. I said I think that was actually Harambe's essence, and she says no, probably not. It was just some dude named Lord Harambe, and I was like, well, you're probably right. But real quick, guys, I want to mention something that our friend Zhuge tweeted out. Mario Kart 8 joins the million sellers list for April 2017. That motherfucker came out on April 28th.
Wow.
And it sold over 1 million in 3 days.
Man,
fuck.
I am so happy that people are getting to play this game in huge numbers now, because I think Mario Kart 8, when it came out the first time in 2014, it is the best Mario Kart game.
This is the first. So
pretty unquestionably, really.
I see people argue that, Brandon.
I know, like nostalgia. Sure, I loved Mario Kart 64 when I was like 12 years old. But
right, but like even then,
fucking 20 years ago, dude.
Yeah, and like I understand why Mario Kart 64 meant a lot to a lot of people. Having 4-player native on the console, yes, it's delightful. It was a muddy ass game when it came out. Yeah. Like, look at the other N64 games that surrounded it. That Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Smash Brothers, Kirby 64, GoldenEye, Blast Core played better than fucking Mario Kart 64.
Blast Core.
Blast Core's my jam, dude. That's one of my all-time favorite N64.
What other game has the A-Team van? That and Burnout Paradise. The only games with the A-Team van.
Dude,
Blast Core's
I didn't have a Wii U, and so this is my first time playing Mario Kart 8. I didn't have a Wii U, so I never got to play Mario Kart 8. I have played more Mario Kart in the past week than any I think I'm
it's so 50, smooth, dude.
I think I'm at 45 or 50 hours of Mario
Kart, and it's just like it's fucking like gel in your hands. It's just like
I want it.
Feels so good. Just slide around the corners.
And guys, it looks so good on the fucking Switch.
It looks insanely good. I mean, I played it on Wii U and it looked nuts. So
I mean, damn! Like if anybody had any doubt that the Switch, just in its undocked mode, is capable of putting out beautiful, crisp visuals, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will make you a believer. It runs at 60 frames a second. It plays like a dream. I have not one hitch. The color just pops right off the screen. And I'm playing it. I'm like, God damn! I love my Switch.
The music is good. Like, it's all good.
Man, Brand, I'm so glad you mentioned the soundtrack because it is just good.
Dude, the Hyrule track. The Hyrule track so with that Legend of Zelda music playing, dude.
Man,
with that guitar riff. Oh, it's so good. And dude, on the Hyrule track, I was playing with JT. The first time I had played it, the fucking coins are rupees. I was like, yes. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Does Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just come with all the Wii U DLC?
Everything. And everything's just unlocked right at the start. Like everything is there.
The only thing you have to unlock are like vehicle parts, but that's easy. Like you'll unlock those as you play. You just get coins.
Yeah. I remember how quickly that unlocked.
I'm rocking Link and Dry Bones. I'm a Dry Bones man. I don't know about you guys.
I'm a Rosalina on the what is Link's motorcycle called?
The Master Cycle.
Yeah, the Master Cycle Rosalina,
which looks fucking awesome. By the way, the Master Cycle is it's like a robot version of Epona with the Hylian shield.
So badass.
Oh, it's so fucking good, dude. I got off on a Mario. I got off on a Mario Kart tangent, but I'll tell you right now, like the way Mario Kart is selling, there was a lot of doubt about the Switch before it launched and how it was going to be received. And like I don't have any doubt. Like this thing's going to be fucking huge. I mean, Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart 8 will sell more than Zelda. I guarantee it.
Oh, there's no question.
There's no fucking question. And I mean, wow, it really. And you know what? I'm starting to wonder if I'm wrong about ARMS.
We'll see about ARMS.
Who knows? Like I'm not high on the concept, but who fucking knows, man? Like Nintendo is just
ARMS. ARMS might find its audience, but like people keep saying, like, oh, it's going to be the next Splatoon. It's going to be the next Splatoon. It doesn't like that gameplay style. Like Splatoon, you see it and you automatically get it. And everybody I've talked to who's played ARMS says it's delightful. Like it is a blast to play. But I don't know about you, but watching videos of it, I have absolutely no fucking idea what that game's going to be.
I have said this on the podcast before. Nothing about that game has been remotely compelling to me at all. Like I love the I've said multiple times, Anthony, like this should have been Punch-Out.
Well, yeah. And like, but even that, like, even if it was Punch-Out, I get why it's not. I get why it's not Punch-Out. Because they need a new thing.
A new IP.
And like there's no... You just can't sell boxing to little kids anymore. Like there's just no way to make that cool. So I get why it's like, here's a pop star girl and dude with long arms, and then there's a lady who has ramen arms, and I get all that. I get that, but like I don't look at the trailers and think I know how that's gonna feel.
Yeah, I just and it's funny you mentioned selling to kids and stuff like. Yeah. Nintendo said, and this wasn't in the topics today, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I'll mention it real quick. Is that Nintendo? I think it's important that they don't reach. I feel like it's important that they don't let their reach exceed their grasp.
Sure.
Because they I can't remember who it was, but somebody at Nintendo said, we think that the Switch can sell at Wii levels, and I'm like,
So I saw, John, that you wanted to talk about this. You wanted to talk about the Switch's potential to reach Wii level sales.
I don't know about all that.
I don't either, and I think that it has the potential to outsell the Wii.
Really?
So
that is
a
bold fucking statement. Let's hear this.
We topped out at a little over 100 million. It sold very well. It didn't even come within spitting distance of the PS2.
The PS2 was like 150 million.
Will anything ever? Yeah.
Will anything ever? And here is where I think the real benchmark for the Switch is. This thing has the potential to be the Game Boy all over again.
Interesting.
The Game Boy, when it came out in 1989, was technologically underpowered. It was kind of weird to hold, and
True.
it
no
was
backlight.
no backlight, like all of these different things.
I'll never forget the stupid little fucking connector thing, like the
Right.
snake light that I had.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Did you have the Game Boy Light, the official Nintendo
yeah,
product?
yeah, yeah.
Lock on the top
with the magnifying glass or whatever. Yeah.
But the thing that keeps popping in my head is, like, this was true of the NES too. Like, the NES was way underpowered even when it was the Famicom back in 1983. This was a cheap device that was meant to do one thing really, really well, which was let people play games cheaply. The Game Boy was the right machine at the right time. The Switch is the right machine it had fucking Tetris.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have a Tetris yet.
It's got
Mario
poo-poo Tetris. It's got poo-poo Tetris.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, no, I own it. It's great. It's
It is awesome. Yeah.
So
Poo-poo
good.
Tetris is great, man.
But like, the Game Boy kept selling for, like, they stopped production on the black and white
like
Game Boy.
15 years or some shit.
2001. That thing was in
was it?
production for 12 freaking years.
I mean, even by the late 90s, they already had the Game Boy Pocket and the Game Boy Color and all that.
Right.
You know, there is something in what you're saying, Anthony. Like, when the Game Boy came out, like innovation.
Don't worry about this.
They've just gotten some
Don't worry, guys. I'm safe. I'm safe.
Are you
Carry
okay?
on.
Dude, is that fucking gunfire?
No, those are our good old loud fireworks.
Holy shit! I was like,
I know, guys. I know your fireworks are like silence and shit. So, but
Dude,
ours is like boom, boom, boom.
I know there was protest a few days ago in Brazil. So I'm like, Gabe, like, holy shit, dude, get down! What are you doing? Okay. Anyway,
If it's gunfire, I'll let you know.
anyway, so innovation drives technology, right? And when the Game Boy came out, there was nothing like it because people were like, I can take my games with me? Holy shit, like, this is fucking crazy. It didn't matter what they looked like. It mattered that the games were fun and you could take your gaming experience wherever you wanted to go. Now with the Switch, you know, ever since then handhelds have evolved, right? Yeah. Handhelds have evolved. You've got the, you know, but now you can take your console games, put them on a handheld, have them look great, and literally take them wherever you go. And the transition is seamless. And it is something that has never been done before, which is why I have said many times, the Switch excites me much more than the PS4 or the Xbox One.
Oh, yeah.
And I have had, and again, it's not about visuals, it's about, is the game fun? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a beautiful game. Is it Horizon Zero Dawn? No. Is it Gears of War 4? No. But it doesn't need to be. I have more fun playing Mario Kart 8 than I have playing any other game that's come out this year.
Yeah.
Any other game. All I want to do, I still have not finished Outlast 2 because every time I'm close to the end. I'll finish it tonight. But every time I fire up Outlast 2, I'm like, this is time I could be playing Mario Kart. I could be playing Mario Kart right now instead of running around the woods with a fucking camera getting the shit scared out of me. And then I turn it off and I go upstairs and I play fucking Mario Kart for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I would love to see this thing. And like, I don't think, obviously, I think it's going to be a great success. I think you're probably looking at a 90, I would say 80 to 90 million sales. It's not going to be another Wii U. I feel like Nintendo was back. They're relevant again.
Yeah. Well, Nintendo never stopped being relevant. Like Okay.
I think they were close, man. I think they were close.
No. Because, John, the 3DS still existed. Pokemon XY and Pokemon Sun Moon and Mario Kart 7, all of these games still happened. Like,
Jesus Christ, Gabe. Are you sure that's fireworks?
I'm gonna stay muted for a while until this thing stops. Okay, so
It's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Yeah, dude, Nintendo.
oh, you like it? Okay,
Nintendo Nintendo never stopped being relevant. Like let's be honest, gamer people thought Nintendo stopped being relevant, and the Wii U wasn't a sales success. The 3DS is an enormous sales success, and like they've still been there. The Switch, meanwhile, the Switch is exciting in terms of relevance because now all of Nintendo's development resources are going to be on this one thing.
And I can tell you, and Nintendo has the finest stable of first-party games ever. Like ever. You can go on. Uncharted is great. Halo is great, but no, from a first-party perspective, nobody touches Nintendo. Like, I'm sorry, but they don't.
No.
And
I think that's generally been agreed upon for.
So I don't really buy the whole. Well, the Switch needs third parties. I don't think it needs Call of Duty. I don't think it needs Destiny. That's not what the system is about.
The whole argument of like, oh, Nintendo needs to get third parties back. Why?
I don't see it. I don't agree. I don't agree with it. I don't see it.
To what
I never
end?
have.
Yeah, like the whole thing. It's like, well, I only want one game system. Be like, you're gonna have a phone too, man. Like,
Yeah.
You're probably like, if you're the person who's sitting there being like, I only want one game system, you also probably have a PC. Like that's not the common. If you go into a Target, the family of 5 walking around isn't sitting there being like, well, it doesn't have fucking Star Wars Battlefront. It's not what I need. But like the Switch, I guarantee you, EA is sitting there watching the Switch and be like, do we make a version of Battlefront 2 that can scale down? Like, do we ask DICE to make us a version of the Frostbite engine that scales down to the Switch?
I mean, obviously, I don't think they do, but
I think we're at a moment where the big publishers, your Ubisofts, your EA, your Activisions, are going to look at the Switch and how it comes out of this year and says, how do we get a piece of that pie?
I mean, I made a bold claim, dude, on another podcast I'm on. And everybody in the podcast laughed at me. I said Nintendo will win basically every NPD for the rest of the year. They will win. And nobody believed me. I think with Mario, like take November for example, which is supposedly when the Scorpio is coming out, right?
The Scorpio is not going to do shit.
I don't think it will either.
The Scorpio is going to be so wildly overpriced.
It is going to sell just like the PS4 Pro did, which is to say it's going to sell okay.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Game people are going to buy it. Game people and like.
Yes. It's an enthusiast box. It's
an enthusiast box, and it's also like a 45-year-old man who like feels like he's out of touch with the things that he used to like. Like the guy who's 45 that really loved playing like the bouncer at PS2's launch is going to be like,
I never knew any of those people.
I gotta go get a fucking Xbox Scorpio right now so I can get back in touch with my roots.
I did not have a single friend in high school that was a fan of the bouncer.
That's a game I have not thought of in years.
Me neither, really. I mean,
the bouncer was my Christmas present to myself this year because I'd never played it. I've never played it either.
I mean, I read the reviews when I was.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
I think this. You know what? I think the Scorpio is going to be fine, and I think it'll sell okay. But it's not going to be the fucking sales nuclear juggernaut that fanboys think it is. Just like it's the same thing. Like people, the Pro came out, people are like, the Pro is going to fucking dominate, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not going to sell more than the. No, it's not. Like it's really, really not. But the Switch, I mean, Mario Odyssey comes out that month, right? And I think Mario Odyssey and a price drop and maybe a decent bundle. I think as long as Nintendo can meet demand, I think the Switch takes November, which is the most important month of the year.
John, I'm gonna go ahead and say Mario is gonna hit. Yeah, I think that we have call me out on this if I'm wrong. I think that we have like an 80 to 90% chance of seeing Smash Brothers 4 ported to.
I think that's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in November, no, but I like, yes, it's a foregone conclusion that that's going to be out on that machine. I think we see it this fall.
You think it hits this year?
I think we
I
see
agree.
it for holiday.
Oh,
And
I agree.
Well, you know what? I mean, dude, we got a Cloud Amiibo coming out. I mean,
yeah, we will.
Only
there'll be
Brandon is going to fucking.
I want Cloud and Ness, and that is all.
Brandon is going to buy that Cloud Amiibo and put it next to his bed.
Brandon, have I ever? I should send you the my Amiibo bomb video. I got a NES.
I want to see it.
I got a NES, and I have a friend who's an obsessive Nintendo collector, and when like the Amiibo boom was happening, and like Amiibo weren't like just $5.
Yeah.
I was still living in New York at the time, so I could just go to the World store and like walk in and be like, "I'll have a NES, please." And so to my collector friend, I videotape myself opening it, putting it into a pint of Smithix, and then pounding my NES bomb. That's what you do with it.
Dude, I didn't realize that was a thing. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Send that video. I want to see that video.
Yeah, hold on. I'll get it right now.
But I just I think that, and here's the thing, like if Smash Brothers is coming out this year, I mean, obviously, I think you'll probably see it announced at E3. Just like I think you'll see Metroid announced at E3. Just like I think you'll see Pokemon announced at E3, probably. I mean, when fucking Pokemon Stars hits, Jesus, you want to talk about sales? Fuck.
It's gonna destroy.
But there's one more thing I wanted us to talk about tonight, and I guess that we'll make this our last topic. And it was, I was gonna bring up the fact that Bethesda stopped that game, Prey of the Gods. I guess they had to change the spell.
Oh yeah, Scrolls Part 2.
I'm like, guys, come on! It's a fucking 3-man indie team. You're just gonna go after them for this?
They went after fucking Notch for his bullshit.
Unbelievable.
That's Bethesda for you, man. They're just just
shitting on the little guy.
I like their games, but fucking as a company, they're shit.
But I wanted to bring up this thing. I'm sure you guys have heard of what I'm talking about here. There was a big fucking stink about something that Phil Spencer said last week. He said, "We're upping our investment with first party and committed to innovate." And this is the quote from Phil Spencer on large story-driven single-player games. He said, "The audience for those big story-driven games, I won't say it is as large, but they're not as consistent. You'll have things like Zelda or Horizon Zero Dawn that'll come out, and they'll do really well, but they don't have the same impact that they used to have because the big service-based games are capturing such a large amount of the audience. Sony's first-party studios do a lot of these games, and they're good at them, but outside of that, it's difficult. They become more rare. It's a difficult business decision for those teams. You're fighting into more headwind." And there's more at the Guardian article that this is in, and a lot of people are taking his statements to say that Microsoft is going to stop focusing on, at least their first-party studios anyway, are going to stop focusing on story-driven experiences and focus more on multiplayer games. I don't necessarily know if I completely agree with the idea that that was what he was saying. Having said that, you can't deny, I just saw that in chat. I'm going to watch it as soon as this is done, man. You can't deny that sales-wise, new Microsoft IPs this gen have had problems.
All right, number one, how many new Microsoft IPs have we seen this generation?
That's exactly what I was just gonna say.
All right,
So,
we've got Rise.
You got Rise. Sunset Overdrive.
And Sunset Overdrive is not owned by Microsoft. The whole reason Insomniac agreed to do that is that they got to retain their IP.
I thought they did.
So then why the fuck don't we have a PC version yet?
Yeah, well, basically because no one bought Sunset Overdrive.
Yo,
which is a crime, by the way, because Sunset Overdrive
on Steam for $30. I'll be there.
Sunset Overdrive is a fucking phenomenal game. I can't believe it didn't sell.
It is the only game in town where Buzzo from the Melvins will show up and give you weapons. I will give you that.
Like Sunset Overdrive is like the only Xbox exclusive I care about.
Rare Replay. I like Rare Replay. Replay.
It's got Blast Core on it.
It's got Blast Core. It's got RC Pro-Am.
Oh, dude, RC Pro-Am, one of the first games I ever played in my life.
So, like, yeah, man, like it's not. Yeah, Microsoft's pool of like new IPs that it actually owns is limited to Rise, Quantum Break, and
It was gonna
Recore.
be.
It does own
It
Recore.
was gonna be Scalebound, right?
And Scalebound.
It's Scalebound, which of course is.
So
longer a thing.
yeah, like I don't like if people are interpreting Phil Spencer's statements as like we're not going to stop focusing on single player games and focus only on multiplayer things.
Yeah, that's not what he was saying. I mean, I don't think that's what he was saying.
A, that's not what he was saying, and B, what's different? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Microsoft hasn't been in the business of big single player games for 5 or 6 years. Now, all of that said, my heart goes out to Phil Spencer because Phil Spencer was given an impossible task, which was to clean up a gaming brand that A, its parent company didn't want anything to do with in the first place, and B, had been completely ravaged by a different president who had completely different goals.
Don Matrick left that division in tatters.
Yeah, Don Matrick and Nancy Tellem. Nancy Tellem, the brain behind CSI and all of CBS's big shows, was brought in to run Xbox TV Entertainment. We all remember the sports and TV.
Yeah, that was
TV, sports.
But that was the idea.
Call of Duty, TV,
Look at
sports.
Quantum Break. Look at Quantum Break. Quantum Break was designed from the ground up to like fit this bizarre vision of video games where it's like you're gonna watch the show, you're gonna subscribe to the Netflix thing.
So they tried that with that MMO Defiance too, because they had like the game and the sci-fi show.
And the show was okay. Like
I never played Quantum Break, but I know people who have played Quantum Break, and they said this game would be so much better if it wasn't trying to be a fucking TV show.
Yes.
If I didn't have to watch 22-minute episodes of a fucking television show. Just let me play the goddamn game.
Yeah.
And like the thing is that people say, well, Microsoft has a first-party problem, right?
Yes, but
at the same time, first-party games don't sell consoles anymore. They haven't sold consoles for a long time. Third-party, compelling bundles and great third-party games sell consoles. And messaging, it's all about the messaging, right? Like, I still feel like people are giving Microsoft hell for the 2013 reveal, and they are. Like, for almost 4 years later, people still talk about this thing. Like, people still bring it up on podcasts. People say, "Oh, the 2013 reveal." I feel like, and the thing that people, and you said something earlier, Anthony, that a brand that the parent company didn't even want. People don't understand that if Microsoft were to sell or spin off the Xbox brand tomorrow, their shares would rise.
Oh yeah,
their shareholders would be thrilled.
Instantly.
Yeah, true story. Yeah, definitely.
If Microsoft, whereas it's the opposite for Sony, because PlayStation is now such an integral part of the Sony machine that if PlayStation were to go under tomorrow,
there is no more Sony.
Sony would quickly follow.
Yeah.
Because PlayStation. Because the PlayStation division is profitable and Microsoft, or not Microsoft, Xbox is not. Xbox is not profitable.
Okay, so I think most people don't know that Xbox is one part. So the way Microsoft is structured, and like we're not going to get too into the weeds here, but Microsoft is broken into 3 different distinct entities, and one of them is called Entertainment and Devices. Entertainment and Devices is like the dumping ground for Microsoft, and
that's where the Zune came from.
It's where the Zune came from. It's where the HoloLens lives.
Yep.
It's where it's where Silverlight. Does anybody remember?
I remember.
I remember Silverlight.
Silverlight, my God.
Right. So all of that shit is packaged into there, and the Xbox brand is like the shit cream filling in the middle of the shit sandwich that is Entertainment and Devices. Microsoft doesn't want it there. And so Phil Spencer is fighting an uphill battle. I mean, I'm not sitting here like, defending the poor corporate president who, in his 9 yachts that he lives
he does
on.
all right. I'm sure he does all right.
Yeah, I'm sure he does fine.
Phil Spencer's just fine. but he does know his industry. Like, he's not a
And he's
dumb
passionate about the brand too, right? Like he's very passionate about Xbox.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and I'm sure people say, "Oh, John, you're just saying this because you hate Xbox and you don't own an Xbox," which is ridiculous. If anybody knows me, I don't hate plastic video game boxes. But as Phil Spencer is fighting as hard as he is for the Xbox brand, because if Xbox is, there will be another Xbox One. But if the Xbox One has another cycle like they are now, Microsoft will spin the brand off because their investors and their shareholders aren't going to put up with it forever.
Yeah, and you will not, if they, Microsoft will never sell the Xbox brand. They will never do it.
I could see them spinning it off.
The brand is too valuable now. Like,
You think so?
Yeah, because you'll be able to. I mean, there is a scenario where we get 10 years down the line and they're. Like, again, this is going to sound crazy. If you get 10, 15 years out, like let's talk 2030. The year 2030, a service like OnLive or Gaikai, like a streaming gaming service, is going to be a whole lot more relevant 15 years from now than it is right now. Like, the technology's not there now, it will be. And let's say that the Xbox One, after the Scorpio, doesn't have a successor. Xbox gets out of the hardware game, Microsoft shuts it all down, and maybe it survives as like the name of like the Windows gaming store. Probably not.
I mean, Xbox isn't even a good name, and
it's a bad name, but it has cash. It does.
By now it does. But I still remember going back to like when I was in high school in like 2001. Like,
so
Microsoft's gaming system is called the Xbox.
The Xbox, like, well, it was the most '90s name ever, right?
It was bad at the time. It's still bad now. But.
Think about every person who was like 12 in 2006. Yeah. Like 12 years old when Gears of War 1 came out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like the most foundational goddamn thing in the world. Marcus Phoenix trying to stumble through a single syllable is the most iconic moment in the world. And then that person's like 40-something years old in the year 2030, and they have kids, and then all of a sudden Microsoft announces Xbox, the new Xbox gaming service, the first true streaming or anything, whatever it is. Who the fuck knows what we're going to be using in 2030? It could be like the first brain implant gaming system.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
But the brand is too valuable, so they'll keep the brand. They will not spin it off. Like, all of these companies are IP holders. All they care about is keeping a name with some kind of milk that they can squeeze out of it. Yeah. And but like, honestly, I don't see a scenario where they're still making consoles in 5 years. I think the Scorpio, unless the Scorpio is an enormous hit, they're not still making boxes.
Yeah. Interesting. So you think they will? And you know what? I mean, it already does seem like they're building the foundation for turning Xbox into a service. Mm-hmm. As opposed to just a box you play your games on. And I'm sure you will still play those games from something that you put in your living room. Sure. But Xbox, I would agree with you. And you know what? Honestly, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad move. You know, that's people will hear you say that and say, "Oh, consoles will never die." Well, nobody's saying that they're dying. They're just evolving.
Yeah.
You know,
what I see happening is Microsoft making yet another half-hearted attempt to get back into PC gaming.
Yeah,
because they do that like every 6 or 7 years.
Which is funny.
We're there now. Like,
I have heard. I haven't tried them, so you guys correct me if I'm wrong. But I have heard that Xbox One first-party games play like ass on the Windows Store. I've heard they play like straight fucking butt.
So, dude, I got rid of my Xbox One last year. Sold that motherfucker before the Xbox One S was announced. Nice. And I played ReCore start to finish and Gears of War 4 start to finish on my PC. Went great.
Really?
Flawless. I had an easier time setting up a party chat on my Xbox app on my PC than I ever did on Xbox One. So
Gabe, I know you're fine, but I'm sorry.
I've been playing too much Battle. Jumpy, you know?
Oh my God, Gabe.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's fucking funny though, dude. Don't worry.
It's so awesome. I love that, Gabe.
Poor Gabe's got to keep his mic muted. So we'll close with this. So you know, since we were talking about the Scorpio launch, and I will be very interested to see you know, what the games look like and all that stuff. But I had brought this up on Twitter the other day, and a few people said, "Oh, John, you're crazy." But you know, we all know that Crackdown 3 is going to launch alongside the Scorpio, right? And obviously, you're going to be able to play it on Xbox One vanilla as well. It's not going to be Scorpio exclusive. I don't feel like that's a very strong game to launch the Scorpio with. I don't, because I mean, you know, it's Crackdown, right? Like it's not a household name like Gears of War, Halo, or Forza. You know, it's Crackdown, and it's an open world orb collectathon. I didn't think the games were all that compelling. I didn't think they were all that great.
The first one was badass.
The first one was okay. The second one,
no, I stand by the first one as like one of my better experiences.
Crackdown, I hated Crackdown 2. I fucking hated Crackdown.
I didn't even play Crackdown 2 because it got bad reviews and just stayed away.
Crackdown 2 it can barely be considered a game.
It was the definition of an open world collectathon. Like
I mean, they just reused the first city over again.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
wholesale.
It's not a new game.
I don't think that. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that Crackdown is going to be something that is going to cause people who already own Xbox One S's to spend another $4.99, which is what I think the console will probably cost. If I had an Xbox One S, right, and I'm speaking as somebody who has a PS4 Pro with a 4K HDR television, that's the only reason I have a PS4 Pro. Otherwise, I wouldn't need one. I'm not going to go out and spend $4.99 to play a game that is going to run on my Xbox One S. I'm just not, because Crackdown, maybe if it were like Gears of War or Halo, but Crackdown, I don't feel like.
Yeah, man.
It's Crackdown, and we still have, and we still know nothing about the fucking game.
Yeah,
we know nothing about Crackdown 3.
Fucking nothing. Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, if there's gotta be something to sell the Xbox Scorpio, it's gotta be something that we don't even know about.
It has to be, right? Like, I mean, fucking Crackdown 3. Like, I mean,
and I have bad news for you. Like the shit that used to move Xboxes, you said it. Like, is it a Gears of War? Is it a Halo? People don't buy those games anymore. Nobody gives a shit about Gears of War and Halo anymore. Like
Gears of War undersold, didn't it? Like,
but massively, massively.
It did not. I mean, it still sold fine. It was a sales success, but it didn't sell anywhere near what Gears of War 3 did.
They're not made by the original creators anymore. People realize this.
Oh, but like, it's not just that. It's like.
You're right. It's not just that, because people still buy Call of Duty, and it has
people still buy Call of Duty. Like,
you're right.
It's more that like those things were exhausted. Like Microsoft already knew that people weren't interested in Gears of War anymore because 3 tanked. 3 is the best one.
Judgment tanked even harder.
3 tanked. Judgment tanked even harder. 4, they opened an entirely new studio in Vancouver. It used to be called Black Tusk. Microsoft closed 3 different studios in Vancouver, including the people that used to make Microsoft Flight Sim, closed all of them, opened a new place, told them, you're going to make us a new IP for the Xbox One, and it's going to be the most exciting thing in the world. Then shut that shit down, renamed the studio, and set the task in front of them.
Chainsaws and locusts.
Make the chainsaws and locusts. That is an expensive decision. That is a lot of money put into making one game. Gears of War 4 beefed it hard.
It really did.
It didn't even chart. It didn't even.
And it didn't do anything that Gears of War 3 did. It did different. You know, like, and you can make the same. You can make the same argument about Uncharted 4. I think Uncharted 4 was a better game than Gears of War 4.
Oh yeah.
But you know, like I don't. Somebody in chat actually, Anthony said it the best. It was very simple. Where is it? It says, Cricket in chat says, Crackdown isn't a compelling enough game to say I need a Scorpio.
Yeah.
And he's right.
That's it.
He's right. And I don't give a shit. And this goes back to the Switch discussion. I don't care about graphics. It's why, it's why the only reason I own a PS4 Pro is because I have a 4K HDR television. I'm like, why not? Right? Like I've got it. I'm sure. Okay, I'll get one. But okay, it's got prettier graphics. That doesn't make the Pro a better console than the Switch. I have more fun playing my Switch than I do my PS4.
Man, like, John, okay, so how many different times have we heard people over the past 10 years, like 2007 to 2017, the shit that everybody in the video game industry always says is the rise of PC gaming changed everything, and the rise of mobile gaming changed everything. Everybody plays games on iOS and Steam. Yes, true. But the real thing that changed for like video game people is that the rise of PC gaming and iOS and all of that is meant that people truly didn't give a shit about graphics anymore. They just don't. The average person could not give a shit.
They've been good enough for a long time.
They have. Yep.
Perfectly put, Brandon. Perfect.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. Like,
that's a great way to put it.
That's the way I feel about the Switch. It's good enough. The visuals are good enough. The games are fun.
Yeah.
I can take them everywhere I go. That's why that device is far more compelling to me than my. You guys can see my dock.
Not that I don't want graphics to continually get better, but like I'm just saying.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
The never-ending, chase for.
But there also reaches a
graphical standard.
You'll always have a PC.
Here's the thing, though. Like,
always be there.
You'll always be able to get your GTX fucking 2007.
Yeah. But there's also a point of diminishing returns, right? Like I feel like the PS4 Pro looks better than the PS4. Is it mind-blowingly fucking better? No, I would say it's probably not. Are games on the Scorpio going to look fantastic? Undoubtedly.
Sure.
Will they look mind-blowingly better than they do on the PS4 Pro? They'll look better, I'm sure, but
even then, how many people own the TVs to even
exactly? And so like. That's my other fear, is that this iterative console shit is going to kick off some kind of fucking console power arms race. But that's a whole. We could fill another hour with that conversation. But we'll I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here because we've been going for about an hour and a half. And that's kind of our thing. We go for an hour and a half. And we bullshit. Brandon was all worried that we wouldn't be able to fill it.
And here we are. Yeah, 3 guys and Gabe's fireworks later.
And Gabe's fireworks. Gabe, are you still with us? Are you alive?
Yeah, I'm alive.
There you are. I want to point out that Athena's eyes are glowing green tonight, which means tonight you're an Xbox guy, right? And then next week you'll be Apollo's eyes will be blue, and you'll be a PS4 guy.
Yeah, man.
I'm
living that neutral life. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's a neutral. Okay. No,
you fucking Xbox pony.
Yeah.
But Anthony, dude, I gotta tell you, man. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on, man.
Oh, John, I love this, man. I love doing this. I really enjoyed getting to talk and bullshit with you, Brandon, and Gabe. This is a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again. Man.
Listening to Gabe dodge bullets all night is an experience that really can't be replicated. I imagine Gabe like every time I hear one of those fireworks, Gabe is like sitting under his window with an M14, just like popping shots. Yep. Gabe's in cover the whole time.
Brandon, I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken that when we hang up right now, you're not able to go play those CDI games. That's killing me.
That really, yeah.
Oh, I played them all more times than I would ever like to. I beat probably all of those games.
What's everybody playing? As soon as we get off, what are you going to go play? I know you guys are going to go play something. Battlegrounds?
I'm gonna go finish Outlast 2. I've got like 30 minutes left.
Normally I'm diehard addicted to Overwatch. That's been my game of choice for like the last year. So.
I'm still deciding whether I'm going to continue playing Outlast 2 tonight because yesterday was not a good idea playing it before going to bed.
No, dude,
I
saw you in chat, dude. That game was giving you fucking heart palpitations.
Jeez, I was like, after I decided, okay, that was it. I was done. I played for about half an hour, all the way up to the first enemy encounter, that axe lady.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Marta.
And then I went to bed, and I couldn't sleep for like an hour. I was like, I went to bed 1 a.m. I was like tossing in my bed, and I
and I decided to look at my phone, see what time it was. I was over an hour, and I couldn't sleep.
Wait till
So
you
I don't know.
Wait till you meet the heretics. Ooh, oh God, dude. The heretics are something else.
I think I'm skipping.
It's not just a it's not just a Christian cult that's out in the woods there. You're dealing with the Christian cult right now. There's another cult out there too. Wait till you meet these guys. You think the Christian cult is bad? Wait till you meet the Catholic first.
I think I'm
playing this over the weekend.
Dude, Outlast 2 legit, like I deal with anxiety.
Yeah.
Outlast 2 genuinely gives me fucking heart palpitations.
I gotta play this game.
Wait till you play Battlegrounds. You want to talk about some heart palpitations?
Dude, fucking Outlast. Like there was a there's a part in Outlast 2 where you're running, and then you enter a cornfield. I was like, fuck this. Cornfield in the middle of the night, and there are cultists walking through the cornfield with flashlights looking for you, and you can hear them under muttering Bible verses under their breath. And
that's so hokey. It's not even scary. Yeah.
No, dude. It's
those games don't get me anymore, dude.
No. Here's the thing. It's not the Christian Bible. It's the Bible that was written by the cult leader, and so they're saying shit like I'm gonna fuck the world, fuck, dude, shit that I can't even say on this podcast. So they're like, when I find you, when I find you, I'm gonna fuck you twice for the Lord, and it's like, Jesus Christ, what is happening? Like, dude, Gabe, back to you.
I played a little bit of the first Outlast.
I played only for this shit I read, and from those little diary pages. Oh my God.
Gabe's trying to.
Gabe, you sound traumatized by this game, man.
Dude,
I'm a little, because horror games usually don't get me. I'm not usually scared by them, but this game did. I don't know. I don't know why.
I mean, Resident Evil 7 did get me. So
Resident Evil 7.
No bullshit.
Resident Evil 7.
I'm not completely immune to these types of games.
Resident Evil 7 had its moments for me, but mostly it was just once you get the way things work,
that's true.
It lost the effect,
Resident Evil 7
the magic.
Game of the year so far, man. Resident Evil 7.
But it's an amazing game.
Nice.
It's not a bad thing. It happens.
Man,
I'll say this much. When you're walking around in Outlast 2 and you're trying to hide from a guy in a barrel, and he walks past the barrel, and you hear him say something like, I saw a wall of spikes, but it was not spikes, it was a wall of cocks. I'm like, okay.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, wow.
That's dumb. I don't.
It sounds dumb, but wait till you're actually playing the game. And this guy's looking for you. And wait till you're playing the game, and this cultist is looking for you because he wants to fuck you. Like, wait, just
now I'm imagining myself playing I'm not even imagining playing this game, and this fireworks starts playing. Oh my God. I'm still not playing this tonight.
It is legit fucking scary. It is legit scary. But we'll go and edit now. If we're not, if we start talking about Resident Evil 7, we'll be here for another hour because that's my game of the year.
Yeah, really.
I like that we're ending on "It was a wall of cocks."
We are ending on a wall of cocks.
Yeah.
This podcast.
We're ending with the wall of cocks.
Anthony, I feel like
episode title.
Every week. I mean, if you want to get technical, every week we end this episode on a wall of cocks.
Every week, it's a wall.
Every single week, it's a wall of cocks on Super Deformed Gamescast.
I'm just excited that I now have a name for my memoir. Finally, I'm gonna send it off to the publisher.
A wall of cocks. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for my life. I don't know what that says about me. But anyway. Anthony, thank you so much for being on, man. It was great having you on, dude. It's always a pleasure.
I loved it, man. It's awesome.
And Gabe, I'm glad Gabe. You haven't been on so long, man. Please be. Are you going to be back next week, Gabe? Please be back next week.
I'm gonna try.
Your new your new mic sounds so good. It sounds so fucking good.
Much better.
I don't think it's much because I usually when that thing happens, my robot voice occurs. It's when I'm using the PC. Right now, I'm using my cell phone.
Don't ever use your PC again because you sound amazing. Don't ever use your PC.
I'm never using my PC again. My PC
don't
sucks.
ever do it again. Become a mobile gamer.
My PC
don't ever use your PC.
Let's start playing Clash Royale.
And just as a reminder, everybody, we will be back on our regular time next Thursday, or a regular day anyway, next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week, we will be giving away a copy of a game. I haven't decided if it's Prey or not, because I don't know if Prey is going to be any good. I don't want to give you guys a shitty game. But we will be giving something away next week, something new.
If I had to guess, it looks like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
Oh, shit. Prey is out this week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's out on Friday.
Yeah.
And I
Friday.
think it's going to be the first dud of the year. But that's
not gonna sell.
That's based on the hour that I'm playing.
John, what are you talking
I
about? Breath of the Wild already came out.
Oh, dude. Woo! All right, well,
A little too hot in here.
woo! Oh, man, hold on. I got to, Jesus Christ, these takes are too hot, man. These tacos are fucking
Right.
burning me up. Only the hottest tacos on Super Deformed Gamescast. Somebody, hey, I didn't even say that, man. I didn't even say that. Don't tweet that, though. Don't tweet that, though, Anthony. They'll fucking come out of the woodwork after you, man.
I'm doing it right now. That's it. I'm taking this to the public.
Yeah, people in chat didn't even realize that Prey. Yes, Prey comes out on Friday. I know. Because
I like the
you wouldn't know
demo.
it because Bethesda hasn't fucking marketed the thing one bit. But
Hey, that didn't hurt Evil Within. They didn't market that for shit, and it sold
Yeah.
really well.
somebody in chat says we're getting off the air. John, 3 hours later, SpongeBob.
Evil Within had way more marketing than Prey did. That's for sure.
All right.
It wasn't very much, but it was way more than this.
And all right. Yeah, if we don't end it now, we're never going to end it. So, guys, next week we'll be back Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again for out to Anthony. Until then, guys, as always, it's not always poetry and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real as hell. So until next week, be good to each other, enjoy your games, and we'll see you later.